Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. And I want to say Shalom to Akwath out there, pursuing this truth diligently, coming at you once again with another lesson. And what I said in the opening was I was giving all praises to Yahweh, which is a true Paleo-Hebrew, original Hebrew name of the Father, who the world ignorantly calls God. And I said Bahashem, which in the original Paleo it means in the name of. And then of course I said Yahushai, which is the true biblical name of the Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And then I said Bahashem, of course, once again in the name of, or Kakwadash, which means the Holy Spirit, or literally Spirit Holy. And then of course I said Shalom, which means peace, also used as a greeting to the Akim and Akwath out there, which of course is referring to Akim is the men and Akim and Akwath. So Akim is the men and Akwath is, the women. So today we're going to be touching on this guy here. What's his name? Troy Body. All right, that's his. I can actually go to his channel here, I'm sure. Troy Body. And he's a resident scoffer that has decided to show up. More than likely an old bottle, if I had to guess. All right, more than likely, an old Jake. All right, of course, Jake is referring to, Israelites, and the true Israelites are the so-called black or Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. And this guy just doesn't get it, right? If I had to guess, he would be a more than likely either a white guy that's just trying to troll, all right, and create strife, or more than likely, if not that, a older, black man that, grew up in the church, all right, and thinks that the black church is helping more than the white church is. At the end of the day, the churches are all set up organizations by the so-called white man that all came out of plantation Christianity. All right, they were all things that were force-fed onto so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're referred to now in this current state. All right, they've put these derogatory terms onto us to take away from the fact that we are the Israelites. Okay, they don't want to call us who we are. Okay, they want to call us by bywords. All right, which of course is prophesied in Deuteronomy as one of the curses. Okay, but this is the type of wisdom that this guy's incapable of receiving. Right, and actually, as a matter of fact, I went back and forth with this guy, more than I would usually like to. Okay, and a matter of fact, I feel bad about it. Right, because and to be honest, I sent up a prayer about it because I responded to this guy 3 times. I try to only do it 2 times. If you don't get it, but something on me, the spirit. I was up late last night, and I gave him one more reply. And I said, look, man, that's it. All right. Because honestly, it's wasting my time. It's wasting your time. All right. And I'm not going to keep going back and forth with someone that isn't getting it. Right. You're just not getting it. So as you can see, there's a couple comments here. And this was coming from my video that I made titled Moses Palmer is all the way bugged out. Now, if you haven't seen that lesson, I'll show you. This guy, thinks that this guy is a man of wisdom, apparently. Right. This is true. Prepare yourself for some true wisdom. All right. And edification. Ready?
Distract us. I got news for you. As the Bible tells me, he said Moses came down from the mountain, and his face shone so bright.
Yeah, look at that face. This guy is bugged out. All right, and the guy that's standing up for him is bugged out as well. So it's a bug out, standing up for a bug out. All right, and this guy's this guy here, Moses Palmer, was all caught up in the the so-called black church. And church is church at the end of the day. They put the term black church because there's more singing, all right, and they add a little bit of theatrics on top of it. It's church at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you're worshiping white Jesus. You're worshiping the image of a white man. All right, this is who you're worshiping. All right, it's white supremacy. Okay, I don't care if it's a white church, an Asian church, an African church, an Indian church, all right, a Muslim church, whatever. At the end of the day, well, I don't know about the Muslims. I can't say that because the whole Muhammad situation, I think they portray that guy as an Arab. But, this is the image. The Catholics, all right, which is the so-called Mexicans, it doesn't matter. You're all worshiping the image of this white guy here, this Edomite, okay, and that's not going to do any good for you, Jake. Okay? That's not going to do any good for you. Okay? The church isn't going to come and help you. The black church, the white church, the Mexican church, the Asian church, none of those churches are going to help you. Okay, the Most High is not dealing with these churches. Okay, that's why they don't even have his name. Okay, my shall know me. Right here. This is Isaiah 52:6. It says, therefore my people shall know my name. Therefore they shall know in that day that I am he that doth speak. Behold, it is I. And this is directly in reference to Exodus 3:14. Let me get it in the, here it is. Exodus 3:14. This is direct in really reference, well, not reference, but the way he says it here, I am he. All right, and then he says, it is I. That's going back to Exodus when he revealed his name unto Moses and told Moses to go and tell, the Israelites what his name was. And Moses needed a name, so Yahweh, as his name is, gave him the name. And it says, Exodus 3:14, and Yahweh, not God, okay? God, there are gods many and lords many, as the scriptures say, all right? Let me go and get that. This is 1 Corinthians 8:5. It says, do I want to read up? Let me see. Yeah, no, we'll start from here. You can read up if you'd like to, but it's to the point. 1 Corinthians 8:5, it says, for though there be that are called gods, notice the small g, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many, okay? And little g's, okay? Even us are likened unto God, a God through Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, all right? That's, Israelite men specifically are likened unto gods, but we're small g's, okay? There's gods many and lords many, all right? God means power at the end of the day, okay? But God, who you would call God, his name's Yahweh, isn't just power. He is the power, okay? The power of all powers. 1 Corinthians 8:6, but unto us there is but one Yahweh, the Father of whom are all things, and we in him, and one Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, by whom are all things, and we by him. Now, if you go back to Exodus 3:14, and matter of fact, even in 1 Corinthians 8:6, and you transfer this over to the Blue Letter Bible, all right, which is a Bible study tool, you go down here, and you're looking for the word God. See, and this is why it's important to go and get the original Hebrew, okay? Because this is in Greek, and it just means a god or goddess, and it can also refer to God the Father, the first person, and it says in the Trinity, all right? And it can also refer to, they're going to say Christ, which is, of course, in the Hebrew, Hamashiach, all right, the anointed, okay? So that's why if we go to Exodus, all right, which is in the Old Testament, all right, and we go and get I am, okay, it's going to give you the Father's name, okay? So we can go down right here, and it says God, all right, which of course is going to go back to the word Elohim, which means a ruler, all right, a judge or God. See, it can also refer to the true God, but it's just a title, okay? And it's plural of God, all right? Aloha, all right? Eloah, all right?
Strong's H433. Eloah. Eloah.
All right? And it can refer to a deity or the deity. It just means God. It just means power, all right? But he said, he didn't say go and go and call me God, all right? It doesn't say, and God said unto Moses, I am God. Go and say God sent you. No, it says I am hath sent. Say that I am hath sent you, okay? If that was me saying it, you'd say, oh, I am hath sent me, right? That's how Moses would say it. He wouldn't say, oh, I am hath sent him. No, and it went, and you got to translate it, all right? So this word I am, right? I am, boom, right here, get it. And it goes back to this word right here. It says Hayah, all right? Hayah. Now it's a primitive root, all right? And it goes back to this word right here, all right? This, or you can see it. There's just a slight change, all right? This is only part, Hayah, all right? Now it goes back here, Hawa, all right? Now the V, it says Va, all right? But if you go and look up, was there a V sound in ancient Hebrew? It's going to tell you that it was pronounced like a W, right? It says, no, ancient Hebrew did not have a V sound. The letter it is now associated with, Wa, was originally pronounced as W. The V sound came to be used later through linguistic evolution and through the influence of other languages. So impurities, Okay, impurities. This is the true biblical Hebrew. It would be Hawa. All right, Hawa. Okay, so, and if you go and get, you can keep on going. All right. But if you look up, it goes back to the tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton. Okay. So the tetragrammaton. All right. You can see it. It says the tetragrammaton is the 4-letter Hebrew language. It's really missing the Yah part. All right. But you can get the Yah from, right here. Okay, this is Psalm 68 and 4. It says, sing unto God, sing praises to his name, extol him that rideth upon the heavens by his name, Jah, but it's actually Yah, and rejoice before him. So if you go and get this, let's go and do the whole thing. Okay. So these 2 words right here, all right, are going to be the full name, okay? As a matter of fact, we'll prove that as well in just a moment, okay? Let's see, Jehovah Strong's, BLB. There's the full name right there, right? So breaking it down for those 2 scriptures, okay, we have Yah, and then you would have what looks to be Hava, but it's Hawa. All right, so Yah, Hawa. Yah, Hawa. Yah, Hawa. That's the Father's name. Yah, Hawa. What does it mean? To exist. All right, and then you see this is Jehovah in the shortened form. All right, but it literally means to exist. This is the full word if you put them together. All right, this is the full name if you put it together. Yah, Hawa. You put it together, and all together, Yah. It's going to say Yah, but it's Yahweh. Yahweh. So it's the same word. They got it right here, ha, but they put it heh over here, which is wrong. Okay? So it's Yahweh. Yahweh. Okay? Yahweh. Okay? So, and what does that mean? What does that mean? It says Jehovah, which is the incorrect pronunciation. Again, no J's until about 1525. It says the existing one, not ones, the existing one who exists, okay? The one who exists, the existing one. You know, the power, okay? So these Christians, they're not going to have it when they're not even calling upon, these Christian church don't have it. Where was I? Here it is. Got those scriptures, but back into Isaiah 52 and 6, these churches don't have his name. They're not calling upon Yahweh and Yahushai, his son's name. They're not calling upon that. And if you want the breakdown of the son's name, you can go and look at the lesson I just made not too long ago. I'll go back to it. Or I'll recommend another brother. Or actually, I recommend the apostle. The names. Or the name. You can go right here. Hebrew proof of the names. It starts with the true name. If you can't get the names right, then your whole doctrine is wrong. You know, and you're over here trying to call me, you know, you'll see what this guy is talking about. This is who I learned from, just one of the guys I learned from, this so-called black man, right? So since you want to be all about color, all right, since you want to be all about color, everything's about color with you, color, all right? Let's go and look. Let's see who I watch. All right, let's go through my subscriptions, since you want to be all blickety black about everything, right? And say I'm a white supremacist, right? Well, let's go and see, okay? Well, this is some other guys. All right, so-called black man. All right, same guy, so-called black man. All right, you know, all you're seeing on my page is so-called black guys. All right, that's all you're seeing right now. Okay, that's all you're seeing. And then, of course, you see this, but this is a Apostle Dahar. All right, which if you've seen what he looks like, let's go to his page. He's just talking about these, you know, these Edomites more than likely. But if you know what he looks like, I'm sure he's got a video somewhere on here where he's in it. Let me go and see. Let me go and see. And really, it's besides the point. All right, but since you want to be all on that really bullshit, All right, and that's the only thing you know is blackness, which black means void of light, by the way. That's why we don't call ourselves, and I say ourselves as in the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. I fall into the Latino category by bloodline. All right, if you want to, well, by seemingly bloodline, but I really go back to Benjamin. All right, which I believe through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. I already showed this, brother, but so-called black man. There you go. There's Apostle Gabar. I can't see one of Apostle Tahar at the time on this page. But, you know, the point has really been proven. All right, the point has really been proven. And really, at the end of the day, I don't got to prove a goddamn thing to you, okay? But since you want to be on that bullshit, all right, then you can go right ahead and keep on. Here's some more brothers that I watch, you know, so-called black men. You know, so what's the point here? You're trying to make it seem like I'm an Edomite or something. Look, more so-called black men and an Ephraimite brother. Right, and Ephraimite brother as well. But you're trying to make it seem like I'm some type of white supremacist just because you don't like what I'm talking about the black church. I talk about the white church. I have a lesson about the Asian church, all right, on my page. All right, you can go and check that out. All right. What was it? The mother, God the mother is a bugged out something false religion. Right here. God the mother is a bugged out false doctrine. I had a motherfucker bugging out on here too. Right? Before you say I'm judging you, I'm not rebuking you. I'm not. I'm rebuking your ignorance of the truth. And then, you know, I said if you really knew anything, you'd have some videos on your account. Okay? So I've rebuked the Asian church. All right? I've rebuked the so-called black church. All right? I've rebuked the so-called white church. All right? It's church. It's not a color thing, dummy. All right? But more than likely, you're an old bottle. All right? You can't breathe new light into an old bottle. All right? Old bottle. Let's go and get it. All right, and really this lesson isn't even for you, okay? Because, matter of fact, I don't know if you'll be able to access it, but after this video, you're getting blocked, okay? So, because I don't want to, not because I'm afraid of you, I'm intimidated. I'm sick of dealing with your dumb ass, going back and forth, all right? Right here, Matthew 9 and 17, we can put in 16. It says, no man putteth a piece of new cloth into an old garment. All right, you're old. You've been in the church probably for years. Either that or you're an Edomite scoffer that's just doing it for fun. One of the two. And you're just an old piece of cloth. No one's going to put a new piece of cloth on you. You're old. You're washed up, man. All right, you're not going to be able to get it. Okay, you can't be remade. Okay, obviously. All right, or you would have got it. The Lord's not dealing with you. Okay, Matthew 9 and 16 says, no man putteth a piece of new cloth unto an old garment, for that which is put in to fill it up taketh from the garment, and the rent is made worse. Verse 17, neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break, and the wine runneth out, and the bottles perish, but they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. All right, some people, you know, really, it starts with younger men. Anybody that's in this truth really started when they were a younger man. Not saying you can't get it when you're older, but it's going to be a hell of a lot harder. All right, and you can still be almost like an undo a new bottle by if you put off the old man and put on the new, but you're not. You're this bottle that's got cracks running through it, and the cork's all fucked up. All right, so you're not going to be able to understand anything. You're not going to be able to understand anything because the Lord's taken away His knowledge from you. He's not going to give it to you. Right? So, perfect segue into Romans 11:7. It says, what then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded. You're not going to get it. All right? Not even all Israel. You might be a Jake. You might be a so-called black man. All right? But at the end of the day, that's not enough. All right? Not all Israel is going to be saved, and they're not going to be saved through blackness. All right? They're going to be saved through their bloodline. All right? There's going to be white-looking people that go back to the seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right? There's going to be Asian-looking people that go back to the bloodline. There's going to be Arabic-looking people that go back to the bloodline. Now, is the Lord himself a so-called black man? Yes. And his son? Yes. All right? And the prophets originally? Yes. All right? But as we were scattered, all right, we were scattered abroad through the diaspora, all right, our people, and seed line is through the father, men got with these heathen women, all right, and they had babies that now look heathenistic and not just like a so-called black, Latino, or Native American, right? And that's not biblical. Yes, it is. You can go and look at it to Ephraim and Manasseh, all right? They had heathen mothers, but Jake fathers, right? But you're not going to get it because it's not for you to get, all right? Because you were blinded, all right? You're part of the rest, okay? You're not part of the elect, all right? You're bugged out. Verse 8, it says, according as it is written, Yahweh hath given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day, okay? And then we got to finish up with this. It says, and David saith, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block, and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, and bow down their back all way. So there you go. And really, this, like I said, this lesson isn't for you. This is for, the believers in this truth, all right, to make you, a spectacle really unto them, to show you how these bug outs are in the world, all right, because you're not understanding a word I'm saying. I guarantee it. I guarantee you're not understanding a word I say, okay? And really, at the end of the day, I don't care, all right? I don't care what you are. I've already rejected you, all right? You're already condemned. You've already been marked by Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and the Lord's going to kill you, man. The Lord is going to kill your ass, okay? And I ain't going to do anything to you. You don't got to worry about me, all right? You got to worry about Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because he's going to take your ass out, okay? And I'm glad, all right? Because you're a scoffer. You're a mocker, all right? So you want to come and scoff and mock, and we'll get that in just a minute, but I want to read you this guy's comments here. Now, he said, why is a white guy attacking, white guy is referring to me. And I was a little playful with it in the next little comment I said, why is a white guy attacking black churches after Trump fired black federal workers? Every source of revenue Trump has removed out the black community. What are you doing to donating to replace that money? Take out a bank loan. You can get it. So he thinks that, if we all chime in and donate to black churches, everyone, that the black church is going to save us, right? They're going to come and help us. They're going to fight the white man down from his power. And they're going to say, step right back, white man. We demand you step down. And the white guy's going to say, you know what? We were being wrong. I'm so sorry. We didn't realize that we were doing all this evil. If you would have just told us it was evil, we wouldn't have done it in the first place. Sorry, guys. You can go ahead and have the kingdom. No. They're not going to give a single fuck. They're going to say, hey, get down, Blackie. We don't give a fuck about you. Get out of here before we hang your ass. All right? That's what they're going to say. They're going to say, get out of here, Juan. All right, before we deport your ass back to El Salvador. They're going to say, get out of here, Tonto. All right, before we take more of your damn land. All right? You Native American, get out of here. You ain't native. We came and took the land. We conquered it by violence, and you didn't. Ha ha. That's what they're going to say to our people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They're not going to have remorse. He's the devil. Dummy. So I said, if you're standing up for the church and think this guy has the Holy Spirit working with him, then you're completely lost. White, and I use parentheses all throughout, white churches don't know anything either and only serve to spread confusion and white supremacy. It's the same wickedness with a different flavor. Black church and the white church. One sings more than the other. At the end of the day, they're still worshiping white Jesus. Okay? That's what's happening. Okay, now, I said the black church was founded out of plantation Christianity. It's not freedom from the white man. It's more oppression under the guise of salvation. We're going to help you out. We're going to help you out. All right? It's not. It's more oppression. Okay? They want you to stay in this society and build up this society. They don't want you to look into the new kingdoms that Yahweh Shem Yahushai is building. No, they want you to help the church. They donate to the church. Help the pasture. Help, that's what they want. Okay? Because that's how they're making their money. It says they worship a white man. So they will never teach that the son and father are really so-called black men. I don't and won't donate to 501c3 organizations, aka the church, as they are controlled by the same government that is oppressing the true Israelites, the so-called black, Latino, and Native Americans, right? Learn where you're at before throwing out wild allegations. And by the way, they'd never give my Mexican ass a bank loan, right? And then I posted, so we got Ecclesiasticus 5:2 here. It says, keep thy foot when thou goest in the house of Yahweh, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. You don't consider that you're doing evil right here. Okay, when you come on this page, this is essentially likened unto a church service. Are you going to go into that black church that you love so much and say, hey, Reverend, stop. What have you done to donate lately? No, you're not. You're going to sit down and shut up. So sit down and shut up, all right? Or you can beat feet and get down the fucking street, man. We don't need you around here, all right? We don't need anybody around here. We're not begging for people to come and listen to us, all right? The true followers of Yahweh Shem Yahushai are going to come and listen, and the people that are not are going to come and scoff, and then they're going to leave, okay? Then I went ahead and posted 1 Corinthians 8:2. I said, and if a man, and if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing yet as he ought to know. You don't know anything, and you're over here thinking you know something. He came back and said, because all we got is the black church. That's all you got? You don't have the Lord. You don't have the prophets. All right. You don't have the promises. All right. You don't have any of that. You just have the black church. That's all you have. Dumb, man. Dumb. You're even dumber than I thought you were. And I know you're dumber than I thought you were, right? I'm being facetious, okay? It says because all we got is the black church. Trump removed over 160,000 black-owned business. Of course, he's having a war on DEI, dude. He doesn't like black people. He's an Edomite. He's an Edomite. He's an Edomite. He's in rule right now. He's an Edomite. They're not going to help you, Jake. He's an Edomite. They hate you. He's an Edomite. They don't like black people. He's an Edomite. They don't like Mexican. He's an Edomite. He doesn't like Latinos. He's an Edomite. He doesn't like Native Americans. He's an Edomite. He's an Edomite. He's an Edomite. He's an Edomite. Do you get it? Are you getting it? This place is ruled by Edomites. It's built up by Edomites. It was conquered by Edomites. It's going to have Edomite values for the Edomites and help the Edomites because they're Edomites and not the Israelites that are so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Of course they're going to keep on doing evil towards us. They're Edomites. They're the devil. Duh. You moved over 160,000 black-owned businesses. 300,000 black women lost their federal jobs. Yeah, through DEI. Duh. Says who you think's gonna take care of us? The Lord. If you're part of the elect, the Lord, who is a so-called black man himself, the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the Father and through the Son, right? We black men have to donate for our women and children. You knocking them down right now makes no sense. Just find a church that you agree with. I don't agree with any church. I don't agree with any church, dummy. Okay? Church is not biblical. You're not supposed to be in it. I mean, when it talks about the church in the Bible, that's the followers of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, not like into the church that we have today. And you already saw the churches going off, all right, when Yahushai, or as you would say, Jesus, all right, went there and had to, create a scourge and whip out the people that were in there with, overthrew the coin changers. People were selling doves. It was already going off, and that's the same church that you're trying to save the day. Yahushai was against it. Dummy, man. Dummy. And he goes on to say, why don't you attack those white supremacy churches that upheld slavery for over 200 years? You know, the ones that's given money to Israel to blow up the world, all right? And I said, and this guy, after this, I said, this guy's really fucking dumb because he didn't even watch, I knew he wasn't going to watch him anyway. I said, I do preach against those white churches, but you found this video and just bugged out and ran with it. Didn't even do your research. You're trying to make it seem like I'm against black folk and you have zero clue where you're even at. This is a Hebrew Israelite channel. The real Israelites are so-called black, Latino, and Native American. I didn't want to throw the word Negro. I'm not Negro? What? Have them sent back in time and shit. Right? Yeah, so-called. That's what they call our people. Do they not? Were our people not called Negroes and Beaners and Spear Chuck and Tonto and all these different names? Were these bywords? It's prophesied in Deuteronomy, by the way. Were we not called all these things? That's why so-called. We're not them, but they're so-called. Okay? We're really the Israelites. Okay? It says, and Native American. How the hell could I be against them when I'm actively preaching that they're the only ones that can receive salvation? All right, the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Now, I'm not going to try to go in this guy and explain, what speckled bird. He's not going to get it. I said, you're worried about saving a society that's founded by white supremacy. There's nothing here to save. Of course, the Edomites, the so-called white people, are going to attack black folk and their businesses. They're devils. What do you expect? And saying, all we have is the black church shows your lack of wisdom. What about the Lord? You don't have him? Obviously, you don't. Nice try, though. And then I posted, by the way, here's a video where I go in on 2 white supremacist church leaders. And you can go and post that up. And it said, look, white culture, response, black culture is really white culture, Esau. You can go in right here and you can literally go and see it. Right? There's a bunch of different stuff. But do you know how to view those statistics? Do you know how to view them correctly? All right. They excel at them. Well, matter of fact, we touched on this a while ago, actually. Look at that. So the British Empire holds the record as the largest colony. We're talking about, look, so the biggest numbers were white. All right. There's the whole video demonizing the so-called white man, the Edom. Look, Brian Suave, Edom, Edomites. Okay. So, but you didn't go and check that out. You didn't go and look at it. Okay. Because you didn't care. Okay. Then I said, here's one where I talk about how the so-called white man stole everything from black, Latinos, and Native Americans. Here's this one. What's the video titled? White America's culture was stolen from Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right? So there you go. There you go. But no, I'm a white supremacist, guys. You got me. Shit. God damn it, you got me. All right. And I posted Micah 2:10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you even with a sword destruction. I posted that because, look, you can't save this place. You got to arise and depart from this place spiritually. This is not our rest, okay? This is the white man's kingdom. He stole all the land. He's evil. The Lord's got to come and take him out of power, okay? You're not going to convince him to step down. No amount of donating is going to get anything done, okay? He's never going to admit fault. Okay, that's why he's got to go. He's got to pay all this back, but he's got to go into captivity. He's got to be in slavery in the kingdom. You say, no, what? He's going to say down here, you can see it says, man-engineered slavery. All right, what are you talking about? All right, what about this? Let's go and get this. Right here. All right, it says, and the people shall take them, Isaiah 14:2, and the people shall take them. Well, actually, let's go up from verse 1. Might as well, right? For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, that's so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the people that go back to that bloodline that don't look like so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? It's about bloodline, not color. It says, and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them. If you do a little bit of research, you'll find out this word stranger, it can refer to a sojourner in Israel, someone who's not naturally Israel born. It can either mean, Israelites that were scattered abroad, or heathens. In this case, it's referring to heathens. It says, the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Sounds like slavery to me, dummy. But anyway, he goes on to say, so I posted that, and then I posted James 1:19. I said, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Because this guy's blabbing his mouth off, and he's not even getting it. That's why I replied once, and I said, I'm not going back and forth with you anymore. That's it. He says, it's not bugging. It is bugging. You're bugged out. You're bugged out. All right? What does it mean to be bugged out? Bugged out meaning... Okay, to act strangely, okay, with wide eyes, bugged out, okay, eyes bulging due to shock, fear, surprise, and strange and surprise, you're bugged out, all right, you're bugging out, okay, what does it mean? What does it mean if someone is bugged out? Okay, someone agitated, anxious, acting strangely. Sometimes due to panic, fear, or being startled. Okay? Impaired state, not thinking or behaving normally. Okay? You're bugged out. Alright? You're all messed up in the head. And it's not because of drugs, it's because of Jesus juice. Okay? You're all messed up. Alright? And you're not going to get it. It says, it's not bugging. He said, it's not bugging, it's understanding how white supremacy controls the black church. What you just said we needed to donate to the black church. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Well, let's go back. What did you say here? You said it's not bugging, it's understanding of how white supremacy controls the black church. You just said we needed to donate to the black church. Here's a scripture for you. This is James 1:8. All right, let it load. Grab a drink while it's loading here. Any year now. No, we're just going to go Bible Gateway. And they need to fix the infrastructure of the King James Version Online. Half the time it doesn't even work. Bible Gateway's fine though. That's probably why they banned it in the UK. James 1:8, it says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. You're saying, we need to donate to the church. The church is all we have. Now you're going and saying, it's the white supremacy controls the black church. Well, when is it, man? Is it all you have is the black church, or is the black church controlled by white supremacy? Which one is it? You're double-minded. You're bugged out. You are bugged out. It says, and Trump is removing black rights. Black people have nothing left. Of course, we have nothing here. All right. Did I get the we sequenced? Yeah, I did get it. All right. We have nothing here. You're right. We don't have anything here. Our people, all right, as referred to, people of color, minorities, so-called black, Latinos, and Native Americans, or other slurs that want to call it, we have nothing here. You're right. We don't have anything here. Okay, and you're not getting it. It says, and if you're a true man of God, then preach black men have to come back to the black church and rebuild. Well, why do they have to come back to the black church and rebuild when you just said white supremacy controls the black church? You're all the way bugged out, man. You just cut yourself and you don't even know it. It says, no matter if you believe it or not, start a GoFundMe for the black church. Trump removed 100. There you are again. We don't care. All right. Of course, we don't care. They're going to continue to do evil towards our people, dummy. All right. At the end, what are we going to do about it? Donate? I donated $1 million, and look, now it helped us. They helped us out. The black church ain't gonna help a goddamn thing. All right. As Steve Harvey said, was it Steve Harvey? He said, you've been donating the church for 40 years. They haven't so much as put a damn doorknob on the church. Okay. Where's that money going? Doesn't matter if it's black, white, Hispanic, or not. They're out for money. They're false prophets. Okay. I say they lost their federal jobs under Trump. Every black community in the U.S. has been gentrified. Of course, it's not their kingdom. The white man controls it. He's evil. He doesn't like them. He's going to continue to persecute them because he doesn't like our people, dummy. We're going to convince them to step down and stop doing wickedness. What's the church going to do against the government? So the black vote is being gerrymandered. It's disguised as conservatives versus liberals. The conservatives, they're the same thing. They're the same thing. All right. It's all bullshit. They want you to think you have a chance. You don't. It says, however, both parties are right wing. Yeah, obviously, we don't have a leftist. We don't have a leftist party. You're right. We don't have a leftist party. The leftist party has progressively gone right, and it doesn't matter which party you're part of. They're two sides of the same fucked up coin, Jake, or Esau, whoever you happen to be. We don't have a communist party, so the fight is fake. But black communities are getting ignored. Yeah, of course they're getting ignored, dummy. Biden paid over $1 billion to house illegal aliens in black communities of LA. So you're against Mexicans, is what I'm hearing. You're against part of your people. Got it. It says, those black people have been asking why and voting for jobs for a long time. And they've been asking school upgrades so they can get education to compete for those jobs. Trump has made it harder on black people. They're not going to get it. You're right. They've been asking and asking and asking. The church has been lobbying. Black people have been weeping, and mourning, and nothing's happening because nothing's going to happen. They don't give a fuck about your black ass. They don't care. They're Edomites. They're the ones that kept you in slavery. They're the ones that were feeding our babies to alligators. They're the ones that were making, the Israelites play soccer to death. They're the ones that were murdering and raping native women. They were doing all these things. They don't care. They have no mercy. They're evil. They never change. They're the devil. They're the devil. They're the devil. Duh. Said Gavin Newsom vetoed reparations for black men. They're never going to get reparations. The only reparations we're going to get is in the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Shai. The Lord's going to help us. The Lord's our help. Who can help us? The Lord. The Lord can. The Lord. Okay, it's like good Lord. Anyway, Gavin Newsom sat down on Van Latham's podcast and said he will push back on Republicans. So who will fight for us? The Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai. All right, not you though, because you're a bug out. Says, I saw no signs on April 5th, May Day, or October 18th. Just signs of supporting homosexuals and immigrants. So where else will black people get help? Lord's gonna kill you, dude. And this is the last response again. He still replied back. And he still doesn't get it. He went back to trying to go back to races and call me a white man. All right, that's what he went back to, because at the end of the day, he's not getting it. He had to cycle back to the same thing. We're not gonna go in circles, you fucking retard. It says, you're trying to fix a place that cannot be fixed. I said, you're trying to fix a place that cannot be fixed by man. The Lord has to completely destroy America and make a new earth because of all the wickedness. No amount of donation or protest or fighting is going to change anything. The wicked so-called white men, biblically called the Edomites, that rule this place do not care about black folks, Latinos, or Native Americans at all. That's why they keep on perpetuating evil against us. This place was founded on slavery and racist ideals. You're not going to donate or protest your way into making them change. All they do is keep oppressing. They're the oppressor. What do you expect them to give you? A hug and apology? They're not going to just step down and admit at fault. I said, the only help that we have is the Lord. Not the church, not protests, not donations, the Lord. I'm not going to keep going back and forth with you. You're lost in the sauce and you're obviously not getting the point. Either receive it or keep it moving. And I posted Hebrews 13 and 14. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. We don't have anything here. We seek one to come. A new heaven and a new earth. That's where we're trying to go. All right, that's where we're trying to be. All right, a new heaven. All right, let's go and get it. Revelation 21:1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. Well, this isn't really the one I'm looking for. It's talking about that when that is put into place. Wherein dwelleth. Here we are. 2 Peter 3 and 13. It says, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, he promised that he was going to help us. He promised that we're going to be pulled out of this place, if we're of the elect, of course. And Lord willing, we are. All right? We're hopeful that we are. So 2 Peter 3 and 13, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. Okay? So this place isn't, and with that, I got to get 14 because it's great. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot, and blameless. Right now, it's not our job to go and donate to Black Church or donate. Our job right now is to focus on ourselves, all right, through Yahweh Shem Yahushai and the ministry, and focus on the ministry and ourselves and bettering ourselves and returning to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, repenting, putting off the old man, putting on the new, and preparing for Yahweh Shem Yahushai to come back and destroy the society that's all founded on slavery and oppression and white supremacy and hatreds towards Jake. Okay, that's how they got this land in the first place, was by killing a bunch of Jakes, all right, the so-called Native Americans, and Jake and so-called black folk and Latinos were there as well. All right, they might look just like a Native American, but they were actually the bloodline going back to Judah, which is the so-called black people. All right, so but you're not going to get that. Like I said, you're lost. You're not. You're lost in the sauce, and you're obviously not getting it. You're not getting it. So Hebrews 13 and 4, I put for here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. And then I got Ecclesiastes 1 and 15. I said, that which is crooked cannot be made straight, but that which is wanting cannot be numbered. And if I go and get Ecclesiasticus, all right, 1 and 15, and I ask ChatGPT about it, it should be able to break it down. Okay. What does this mean? Okay. It says, that which is crooked cannot be made straight. The phrase symbolizes the unchangeable realities of life. Things that are broken, unjust, or beyond human control. It's beyond human control. We can't do anything about it. All right? It says crooked here doesn't necessarily mean morally evil. It does. It does. It can refer to flaws and frustration. It does mean evil. All right? They're going wrong on that. It says, the writer traditionally, Solomon, is saying that no matter how much wisdom or effort a person uses, some aspects of life cannot be fixed or straightened out by human means. Okay, in this case, we cannot fix this world because the world it's beyond fixing. All right, it's crooked. All right, you can't bend it straight. All right, if you want to see something, really the best way would get a piece of paper. Okay, get a piece of paper and crumble it up. Okay. So here, watch. I'm gonna do something for you. Okay, let me get I'll get this part of this box here, right? I'll get this part of this box here. Okay. You get up here, right? Okay. Little piece from a tab of those healthy sodas, right? It's still crooked, but right, it's mostly straight, right? We see it's mostly straight. Got it? So if we just take this and crumble this up, all right, as much as we can, right, and we really just all the oppression and Esau taking over and slavery and all the things that he's ever done, and the rapes and the slaughtering and the lies and saying that we're lower than we are and not telling and hiding the fact that we're the Israelites that the Lord's speaking of, all right, just crushing it up. So now we get this. Right? It's all fucked up. It's all messed up. We got this messed up society. But that's good because we can take it and we can unbend it. And look what we got. Oh, a perfect society, everyone. A perfect society. No creases or rip. Everything's fine. It went back to normal. Right? Because we lobbied and we donated. It went back to normal. Right? It's fine. Look how it's straight, kinda. Right? If we just really, work it out, we kind of get some sediment of straightness. Look, we're bending it back, guys. It's fixing itself. Dumb, man. Dumb. Stupid. You ain't even getting it, man. You ain't even getting it. That's why you're a lost cause. And then finally, I posted Isaiah 13 and 19. It says, in Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, and this Babylon is, of course, referring to America. You're not going to get it, though. It says, shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Let me just go book a trip real quick to Sodom. Let's see. Let's see. World map with search. Okay, do I have one that I can search? Okay, let me search, because I've been trying to book a trip to Sodom for a while. So where was Sodom? Where was Sodom? Jordan River on the east side of the Dead Sea. What country? All right, let's go and look it up. Let's make sure, right? What country? In modern day Jordan. Some theories place it in modern day Israel. Okay, so let's go and check. No, that's not it. Maybe Israel. You know, like where why can't I get there? You know, we can go. Where are we at? There we are. Okay. So is there anywhere in here, anyone seeing any Sodom? I'm not seeing it anywhere. Personally, I'm not seeing it. So they said Jordan. It's nowhere on the map. So if Babylon, okay, is going to be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, and how did God overthrow Sodom and, let's go back, Sodom and where? Gomorrah, right? I wanted to check if it said Egypt, because there's another one that says spiritually it's called Sodom and Egypt. So it says God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah by raining down sulfur and fire down on the cities from the sky. Destruction was a consequence of their wickedness. So, okay, there you go. Was it completely destroyed? Yes, according to the biblical narrative, Sodom and Gomorrah were completely destroyed. There we go. Nothing was left behind. The destruction was absolute. Nothing was left behind. There you go. So that's what's going to happen to America. There you go. That's how it goes. He goes on, and I'm not going to reply to it. Matter of fact, you're going to watch him be banned here in a minute, because I'm not going to deal with him. And it's not going, oh, I'm intimidated of him. No, I went back and forth with him. I've given him all the stuff. He can't get it, so he's just going to get banned. And for some reason, it's only showing up through my YouTube studio creation, because if I go here and I go and look at it, for some reason, his replies aren't even showing up. So I think that's a little interesting. Why is he not showing up here? Okay. And of course, you had this other scoffer here. I hate the style of preaching you opened up. Sounds stupid as fuck. Ha! Right? I said, hate what? The original Hebrew? The names of the Father and Son? Yeah, I don't doubt that you do. And of course, I post with this guy, John 15:18. If the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. And then we had this guy. I'm not going to mention him too much because, he was just trying to, I guess, be nice. Remember, nice means foolish, but he didn't really say anything really wrong at the end of the, I mean, he did, but I'll read it. But this guy, he's not deserving of any wrath of anyone. Because he's got Christ in the name. I mean, really, if he's deserving of anybody's wrath, that would be for Yahweh I'll shot it aside. But I mean, he's not scoffing or doing anything. He said, I think that he or she is speaking about the way you're delivering the words, not so much the word. He's, referring, because the guy said he hated how I opened up. He said, I think he's speaking of how you're delivering the words, not so much. No, it's not how I'm delivering the words. He just hates the word. And this guy said, I've also asked myself in times past, why do some preachers speak this way? The guy that Moses Palmer, and Moses came down. Right? He's asking, he's saying, why do some preachers speak this way, and where did it come from? Because it's all a little, he says, it is a little strange when you grow in age and awareness. It's similar to how cliche it is how newscasters speak, like a programmed way of preaching that other people copy. I don't know, but it does bring one to wonder why. Also, why speak in a way that makes one lose their breath when they don't have to? It's true. You're over here. I'm like, bro, you're going to drink some water. You're going to pass out, right? Why speak in a way that's going to cause you to lose your breath when you don't have to? He says, and I actually grew up hearing this type of preaching. But as a born-again adult, I'm perplexed at the origin and purpose of it. He said, I'm perplexed at the origin and purpose of it, to be honest. And I said, sure, but the way the video opened was me praising the names of the Father and Son in the biblical Paleo-Hebrew, and they stated they hated the style I opened with. I said, you not scoffing at it shows you might have a chance. Make sure to repent using the true names and stay prayed up. May the Most High guide you. And true, may Yahweh Shem Yahushai, if this guy has a chance, may the Lord, continue have him watch the videos and find GMS and learn. All right, because you not scoffing when you first heard the name, that's a good sign. Okay, that's a good sign. And because most people, what's the names of it? I don't like it. Right, but you were saying, maybe it was just a word. You're trying to, you're in the good guy mode right now. You're trying to, be kind of like an apologetic for everyone. Maybe they're just speaking about the word. No, that guy was bugging out. You, on the other hand, you might have a chance. You're not scoffing. All right, you came over here and it was orderly as can be with what you posted. All right, so hey, if that's the case, may Yahweh Shem Yahushai, if you're truly of the elect, you're going to be let out anyway, but let out of the darkness into the light. Okay, and understand this truth. Okay, so you can really be born again. All right, through Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So, no, that guy, I didn't have a problem with him. I'm not mad or angry at him. These other two guys, man, they're bugged out, and the Lord's gonna kill these guys. All right, the Lord's gonna kill them. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna send up some curses on them. All right, in Hebrew. Okay, so let's finish where we're going with this. So right here, I wanted to get back with Troy Body. All right, it's funny because this guy is Troy Body 6662. I know that this guy got 808. Sometimes they randomly put a number on your page. They did real well with giving this guy 666. Okay, he said, bullshit. You're making excuses. Man engineered slavery. This is why the church fails and no one goes. What are you talking about? The church is winning. You need to donate to them. He said, because the white man lies. Who made up the Jim Crow laws? You made up gerrymandering, gentrification. Was that a part of the Sermon on the Mount? White people lie so much that they don't even know when they lie. Are you making God a liar? When did I make God a liar? This guy, you got some mental illness going on. So this is for you. Okay? Adawan. Babukasha, Shabar, Ayab, Yam, Nawa, Wa, Shamar, Ka, Aya, Ka, Aban. There you go. Babukasha. May Yahweh Shem Yahushai send curses and break you. Okay? So that, and what I said was, Adawan or Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Adawan means Lord or Sir, but I could say Yahweh Shem Yahushai. I'm actually going to do it one more. So, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Babukasha, Shabar, Ayab, Yam, Nawa, Wa, Shamar, Ka'aya, Ka'aban. Okay, Babukasha, Thawada, Aman. All right, Amen. So, there you go. So, what I said was, Lord, Sir, all right, or Yahweh Shem Yahushai, please break our enemies and keep my zeal as stone. All right, and you can go and find this one. You can go find this if you go and look. You can go and get GMS Hebrew curse. Okay, and you can get it. There's this bug out. Here it is. This is one of them right here. 2 years ago. Quick prayer for zeal and curse for our enemies. GMS Beloved Truth. All right, and there's fixes in there, so you can go and check that out. There's a bunch. You can go and look at them. There's a page here, GMS Learn the Hebrew. It's interesting. Lord's Prayer. These are cool. Okay. I don't know if this, I guess it's not active anymore, but that could be interesting to check out and look. But, yeah, man. So, curses in the original Hebrew for you. All right. May the Lord break you. Okay. Again, what I said was Lord, or Sir, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the Father, the name of the Son, please break our enemies and keep my zeal as stone. So, and then, amen, of course, which means let it be done. So, that's curses upon you. All right? So, that's, for you and this guy, Uvi808. Not for this guy, Christ Chrysalis and Mannheim. All right? You just, Lord's going to deal with you however he deals with you, but I'm not going to send curses upon you because you didn't do anything wrong at the end of the day. But these two guys up here, Troy Body 6662 and Ovi808, may Yahweh Shem Yahushai break you, okay, and send death and destruction upon you, okay? And in those final moments, okay, may you realize, okay, that, you were wrong. You were wrong. So, that's it, man. That's it. So, you know, we're going to close. Really, that's it. That's all I got to say. All right, we got the lessons. Probably been about, 50 minutes to an hour. 54 minutes to be exact. It's fine enough with that. So, hey, man, don't be like these scoffers. Don't be like these mockers, okay? These guys don't have any understanding, okay? And really, ultimately, they were marked, okay? They were marked. So, what we're going to do is we're going to we're going to hide user from channel. Or how to ban. Let's see. How to ban someone on comments YouTube. Hide user from channel. Okay, that's how you do it. All right, I don't really do it that often, so hide user from channel. Boom. You get to be gone. And then, unfortunately for you, all right, this guy Christ Chrysalis in Mannheim, you're not gonna be hidden, but it's because you're in this comment chain, your comment's gonna more than likely go away. So yeah, basically everything on this page should be completely blank now. Yep, 0 comments. So wipe that out. Okay, wipe that out. So bye. All right, goodbye. Don't need you around anymore. So yep, that's gonna leave it out. Let's go ahead and get one more. And let's get let's go and get not the mobile one. Sometimes it brings up the mobile one. Let's get the regular one. Let's go and get a Sirach 27 and 28. And it says, mockery and reproach are from the proud, but vengeance, that's payback. That's the get back that Yahweh Shai is going to have on you. But vengeance, as a lion, shall lie in wait for them. What else do I want to get? Let's see. One more, maybe. Let's get Galatians 6 and 7. It says, be not deceived. Yahweh is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And this is especially true for that guy, what was his name? Ovo or whatever his name was. Because he said, I don't like that stupid ass way you open with. Ha! Well, you just mocked the Lord. All right? It's like that guy that said Kalawala PP. All right? Mocking the Hebrew. That guy, that's an Edomite. All right? The Lord's going to kill you for that. All right? Lord's going to kill you for that. So, there you go, man. That's really all we got. All right? And like I said, I felt bad for even replying. I had to send up some prayers to Yahweh Shai last night after I replied because I said maybe I shouldn't, but I felt like it would be edifying, but I gave that guy too many chances. All right? And I felt bad about it. So Titus 3 and 10 says, a man that is an heretic after the first and second admonition, reject. And I gave that guy a third chance. So really, I was more than gracious with that guy and answering him, because really we're only supposed to do it 2 times. Like I said, I felt bad for it. There ain't no 3 strikes you're out in this truth. All right, well, the first, second, and third time, no, it ain't. The third. What do they say? The third time is the third time's the charm. No, okay. You get 2 chances. If you go and somebody says, hey, man, you need to stop eating that pepperoni pizza. That's abominable. Shouldn't be doing that. And they say, oh, yeah, I should. And then you see them doing it again. You say, hey, man, last time I'm going to tell you, shouldn't be doing that. Lord's going to kill you. You see him do it again, don't keep on warning him. All right? A man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition, reject. All right? And really, at the end of the day, let's go and get verse 11. It says, knowing that he that is such is subverted and sinneth, being condemned of himself. So this guy's condemned, all right? There's nothing we can do to help him, okay? And as a matter of fact, we need to go and get verse 9. Skip verse 9. It says, and really it was in a foolish question. Many foolish questions, an unlearned question this guy was speaking about. So Titus 3:9, it says, but avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions and strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain. So there you go. And again, we got to get 10. A man that is an heretic after the first and second admonition, reject. Verse 11, knowing that he that is such is subverted and sinneth, being condemned of himself. So you want to keep on being on that, have fun, You're not on this channel anymore. You come back under a different name, you're just going to get banned again. Don't care. All right. May the Lord send hell upon you. All right. So you can find out that, and may you pray to that black church that they come and help you, and may your prayers not be answered. Right? Because you say, well, what, prayers not be answered? Yeah, because you're going to be praying on Jesus Christ. All right. So let them deliver you. Let them deliver you. Okay. They're going to help you so much. Let them deliver you when the true Lord, the true power, Yahweh Shem Shai, comes and brings hell down upon you. So that's the lesson. We're going to end out there. Lord, what was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.